Batman! Any Batman fans here? Well, what better choice then for your guest moderator, for Mr. Adam West and Burt Ward, than Mr. Spike O'Neill from KJR 95.7 FM. Take it away, Penguin.
Good afternoon. This is a non-smoking event, so I'll just lay this thing aside. As Joe mentioned, I'm Spike O'Neill from the Bob Rivers Show, KJR FM. Oh, thank you, very kind. This is my, God only knows, I think maybe 7th Comic-Con. I've moderated before, but this opportunity, when it presented itself, when our next honored guests agreed to be a part of this year's Comic-Con, I started lobbying for this moment, for this moderation opportunity. Moderating has never been an option for me. And from some of the stories you'll hear for our guests as well. Our next two guests have been a part of my life, and I'm sure yours for as long as I can remember, and maybe any of you can remember. You know, each generation is, I think, formed with the help of their heroes. And we have a couple of true heroes gracing us with their presence this afternoon. These gentlemen came into our homes and became a part of our lives when my opinions and habits were being formed. And it is truly an honor to be able to spend some time with them this afternoon. I'd like to welcome you first to, before I welcome our first honored guest, I should let you know that I'm a little brother. My older brother's a year older than 40 pounds bigger than me, so I never got to be the Batman, but I always got to be the boy wonder. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dick Grayson, Burt Ward.
Hello, citizens.
And where would young Dick Grayson be today without the guidance, patience, and genuine loving guiding hand of the billionaire Bruce Wayne, the Batman, the classic Batman, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adam West. Yes!
Thank you, Pengy baby.
My honor, sir. Oh. Let's see here. Make yourselves comfortable, folks. We're going to be here for a little while.
It's not an easy job, is it?
To moderate with you gentlemen for this group of people. This is actually the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Of course,
Maybe I could help you out a little here.
I do morning radio, so I've never had a hard task in my life. Before we...
could I help you out for
I would
just
love
a
that.
moment? Thank you.
Please.
I'd like to stand here, folks, and let you admire my incredible crime-fighting physique. And, of course, Burt's. Oh, we all change over the years. Good God.
Yeah, crime fighting can age you.
Yes, I know. 24/7 crusading and fighting crime, and you look like the Penguin.
Only in the physicality sense. My mind, I hope, is pure and clean. And I really do credit you gentlemen for that. I as a kid, I mentioned during my introduction of you that you guys were a part of my life for as long as I can remember. There's you won't be able to see it, but there's a scar right here on my forehead.
Oh my God, it's just terrible.
Christmas 1969. I asked for one thing and one thing only, a Batman costume. And my parents and Santa lovingly delivered a Batman costume, full cowl, full cape, everything. Utility belt, I had it all. I proceeded to, at about 7:40 Christmas morning, don the entire Batman costume and dive directly through the glass door that was the front of our house. Not kidding. Right onto the concrete front porch of my Baltimore home, and then spent Christmas in the emergency room getting stitched back up. So I have always wanted to be Batman. Before we share with our group how you gentlemen came to be the dynamic duo, if I could start, Burt, with you. Your childhood, I found out something recently about you that amazed me. Is it true that you were the youngest professional ice skater in the history of ice skating?
Yeah, my father owned a traveling ice show. It was called Rhapsody on Ice, and he put me to work at age 2. And it was at the time they didn't have Ripley's Believe It or Not. It was a thing called Strange as It Seems, and they wrote it up as the world's youngest professional ice skater at 2. So he got me out working young.
Got you out of working?
Oh, got me out working.
Got you
May I
out
tell
working.
you a little story about how he got the nickname Sparky?
Please.
This is a G-rated audience.
Not at all. Anybody want us to?
Please.
Well,
Anybody want us to put a governor on this or clean this up at all, or you want the real deal? If you would.
he was the youngest ice skating star in the world, ice dancer. Now, one night, his flashing blades hit the electric cables as they whirled around the ice rink. You should have seen the sparks
Yep.
with those metal blades and the electrical cable. From then on, he was known as Sparky
Yes.
until he became Robin, of course.
And how did that come about? What was your career path that led you to Hollywood and eventually to the opportunity to become the Boy Wonder?
Well, for me, I was growing up in the Los Angeles area. I went to Beverly High, and I was actually at UCLA and studying acting as well as studying in a professional studio. And I was selling real estate on the weekends, and I sold a house to a producer who sent me to an agent. It was the first thing I tried out for. There were 1,100 young guys interviewed for the part of Robin. And when they selected me, which took a couple of months later, they said that the reason why they selected me to play Robin was because in their minds, the producers' minds, if there really was a Robin, that they thought I would be exactly that person. So they asked me not to act, so to speak, just to be myself and be enthusiastic. And then I met Adam at the screen test, and we screen tested together against another fine actor and another young actor. And you can see it on the internet. You can see our screen test, ours and the others. And I think we did a really great job, and we have a kind of a special chemistry. We work really well together.
Now, did you know? Oh yeah, by all means, I would agree with that. Did you know what you were getting into? Did you know what you were auditioning for? What preconceptions, if any, did you have
I had
about
none.
the role of Robin?
I had none. When I sold the house to a producer, I asked him if he could help me get an agent. He said yes. And I went to the agent. They said, we can't get our current actors any work, so we're only taking you because this big producer sent you to us. Don't expect to work for a year, and if you do, you'll get a walk-on part, and you maybe have one word. So the first thing I tried out for was Batman, but I didn't know it was anything to do with Batman. They just said, they called me up and said, they're seeing young guys over at 20th Century Fox. Go over there. So I went over to 20th Century Fox. I met a casting director. He said, would you like to meet the executive producer? I said, great. I figured everybody got to meet the executive producer.
No.
Not that way. So I went in and I met the executive producer. He looked at me. His name was William Dozier. He said, you're kind of big to play this part. And I said, I promise you, sir, I won't grow anymore. And he laughed, and he thought it was pretty good. And so then I got the chance, but I still didn't know. He didn't tell me what the part was for. They just said, okay, listen, next Thursday we're going to have this screen test or whatever. I showed up there. I did my first scene with Adam as Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne, but it didn't say Bruce Wayne or Dick Grayson. It just said Bruce and Dick in the script. Who would know what that meant?
Right.
And it was after that I said, well, thank you very much. And I started to leave. They said, no, you're not finished yet. I said, oh, really, why? They said, well, go over to the dressing room. We got a couple of wardrobe guys over there to meet you.
Was this your first look at the Batman?
Well, no, this,
Or the-
I didn't
the
know what it was
Robin?
for. Reading the dialogue, you would not know what it was for. So I went over there, I got in the dressing room, and here's these two guys standing there. He said, well, we want to help you get dressed. I said, well, thank you, but I don't really need any
done
help
this
getting
before.
dressed. You know, and I had kind of a strange look in their eyes, which, you know, didn't make me feel too good. But anyway, so they showed me this costume. I said, what's this? They said, oh, you got to put on this costume. I said, well, what is this, a period piece? I mean, a Shakespeare or some kind? No, it's they never told me what it was. Only when I got out there and I saw Adam in a costume, I said, why is he in this costume? You know, and then I started to put two and two together.
And we're glad you did.
Thank you.
First job for a lifetime. Adam, you I know did not grow up in Hollywood, didn't go to Beverly High. You were a Seattle boy and a Walla Walla man. I know you were raised outside of a ranch, or on a ranch outside, not outside the ranch, I'm sure they let you come in, on a ranch outside of Walla Walla. How does that young man find his way to this opportunity and this role?
That's kind of interesting. It was a long, bumpy, dirty, difficult road. I washed dishes. I emptied the trash. No, what happened?
Sorry.
What happened was very simple. I grew up on a ranch pretty much, and I went to high school in Seattle, by the way. But I
Lake
think
Stevens, or so, where'd you go?
Lakeside.
Lakeside.
Yeah.
Apologies.
But I was one of those rich kids.
Okay.
No, it was at that time it was Boys Town. They didn't know what the hell to do with me, so they sent me away to the boys' school. And I promptly was able to steal every key in the school.
Nice.
I was very popular. I don't want to go on like that, but what happened was eventually after graduating, I got a job in radio. Then I went on to Stanford for some postgraduate work. I lasted 4 weeks.
That long.
Yes, normally I wouldn't have lasted that long. But what happened was I won an audition, I got a job. So I said, well, screw this school, I'm gonna work.
You go to school to get a paycheck. You've already getting a paycheck.
Yes, I wanted to make a living. And so I started that. I went to the Army and all kinds of stuff. And then, you know what happened? Like Burt was cast. I was cast in kind of an unusual way. Now, I know it's happened once or twice in this business, but the people at Fox and ABC had seen a commercial that I'd done for Nestle's Quick, in which I played a character called Captain Quick. He was kind of a James Bond spoof.
Okay.
They saw that, and I didn't know until 2 years after we started the show, excuse me, that's the reason I was cast. They saw the darn commercial, and they said, hey, this turkey could play Batman.
Beautiful.
It's that simple. You know, it's all timing and luck, folks. A little talent, maybe, and
More than a little, I think, maybe.
well, perseverance. And
Well, I can honestly tell you that there's no way they could have envisioned what you did with the role of Batman when they didn't cast you to become the Cape Crusader, or to be the Cape Crusader that you became, that we all grew to know and love. You were able to do so much with that role that I can't imagine they ever envisioned. Did they give you any kind of guidelines or any kind of direction, or just how did?
Yes,
because
they
the
did.
Batman's is a deep and evolved character.
well, what happened was I went in, and that first day, when I put on the costume and walked across the stage, people didn't say a word. I thought they'd laugh. And they were in awe because they believed in Batman. And of course, my legs in those tights were so nice. But
You're killing.
what happened here was...
My mom watched every week, and I don't know if she was there for the fights. I mean, she was there for the Batman.
Oh, hey, I'm in my 80s, folks. My God, it's tough. But it's the new middle age. Anyway, so what happened was Burt and I started to do it. And the memos started to float around the studio. People from Europe, writers, producers who saw the dailies said, "What is that kid trying to do? What's he doing? We want him to be straight like the Lone Ranger." Tonto. And I just did my thing, and I just kept doing it. And you know what happened? With all that criticism, after 2 weeks of dailies, they said, let this kid do whatever the hell he wants.
Right.
He's funny.
And it was. And it's amazing. I've done some research on the success you gentlemen achieved with your television show. The first weekly, if I remember correctly, you gentlemen pulled a 55 share of national television audiences.
Yeah, it broke pretty big. Not Breaking Bad, but it broke
Pretty big.
pretty big.
No, that's like Super Bowl's dream of 40 shares. This is a adventure action television program with a 55 share.
Which
Burt
meant that
and I-
all 55% of all televisions on that night were watching one show.
And Burt and I
all the other
figured that-
stations shared
excuse me,
45.
Burt, go ahead.
Go right, no, you go right ahead.
You go right
No,
ahead.
no, that's right. You go right
Thank you,
ahead.
I
You're
will.
the senior bat.
I will, of course. Thank you very hard. I don't know what I was going to say, really. We all got kind of married with the same concept that we do the show for the whole family spectrum and make it funny for the adults and let the kids, I see a kid there somewhere, let the kids enjoy the adventure, the splash, the color, and all the morality lessons, the ethics.
Yeah.
Wait, Robin, hold it. Put a quarter in the meter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Batman did not break the law. Not even you were going to illegally park the Batmobile. It's a beautiful thing. So making the television show, we're now used to entertainment in our homes and on the screen, the cinema and the TV screens. That is truly mind-boggling. You gentlemen worked in the very, I don't want to say pioneer because I don't want to make you feel old. Because I look at you two gentlemen and I can't believe that it was 50 years ago plus that this television show was being made. What were
47.
47 years ago? What were the day-to-days like of making Batman?
Oh, Bert, you want to tell them about all those trips to the hospital?
Didn't
Well,
you make four
that-
trips
that-
in the first week?
No, well, first of all, I'm not an accident-prone person, and being athletic and a martial artist, I had never even been in the hospital. But the first day of Batman, I got suited up, and they said, "We're ready for you, Bert. We're going to film this scene coming out of the Batcave." And I got in the Batmobile, and there was a gentleman there, but it wasn't Adam, dressed as Batman. I said, "Well, who are you?" He says, "My name is Hubie." I said, "And what are you doing here?" He says, "Well, I'm a stuntman." "Oh, really? Great."
Yeah. Dangerous
why-
work.
Well, I said, why is not Adam here? He says, "Well, because I've got to do a very dangerous stunt. We can't take a chance of Adam getting hurt." That was not comforting. I said, "Well,
No.
Wait a minute here. What's so dangerous?" He said, "We got to come out at 55 miles an hour, and we got to go straight at the camera, make a sharp left turn, and we just can't take a chance that something could happen to the lead actor."
Right.
I said, "Oh, well," I said, "Do I have a stuntman?" He said, "Yes, you do." I said, "Oh, great. Where is he?" He says, "Oh, he's over here having coffee with Adam West." I said, "Wait a minute. There's a terrible mistake here." I stopped. They were about to start shooting, and I said, wait a minute. I called over the second director, unit director, Ruben, and I said, I think there's a mistake here." He said, what's wrong, Bert?" I said, "Well, you got a stuntman here." He says, "Yeah, we know." And I said, "Yeah, but I'm here, but my stuntman's over talking to Adam West." He says, "Yes, I understand that." I said, "But why isn't he here?" "Oh, well, because we can't use him." I said, "What do you mean? Why can't you use him?" "He doesn't look like you." I said, "Well, wait a minute. wait a minute. He
What,
says,
he sell the
"You've got-"
producer a house or something? How did he get the gig?
No, he says, you've got this very slender mask, and the car has got to come out at 55 miles an hour, and even though it's coming out very fast, when it makes this sharp left turn, your face is right in the camera,
Right.
and we can't have somebody there that doesn't look like you. I said, well, why didn't you think of that? I mean, when you hired the guy, why didn't you try to find somebody that looked like me? We tried. We couldn't find him. So you got to do it. So we came out at 55 miles an hour, and unexpectedly, as can happen, my door flew open. And it knocked the cameraman off the camera, and it knocked one of the lights over. And as I was falling out the door, I managed to reach around. I don't know how I got lucky, and I wrapped my little finger around the gear shift knob, which kept me from going out. But at the same time, it pulled the finger out of the socket, which was very painful. I had never had that happen before. So I was in tremendous pain. They came over when this all happened, and they said, oh my gosh, Burt, look at your hand, it's swollen already. I said, yes. They said, we've got to get you to the doctor. I said, okay. And they said, just as soon as we get this shot. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm in pain. They said, we got to get this shot. I mean, we've got 80 guys in the crew. It's $30,000 an hour. We got to get this shot. I said, well, okay. It was 3 hours later. I finally ended up at the doctor. And that was day one.
Day one. Welcome.
I had a problem on day 2, on day 3. On day 2, I was coming out of a burning car with Frank Gorshin, supposed to be burning. Frank comes out as the Riddler. He jumps down, and I come out from underneath, down where the smoke was, come up at the top, and just as I'm ready to jump out, unexpectedly, the car blows up. Threw me to the ground, second-degree burns to the back of my neck. I'm back there, and it's the same doctor. He says, what are you doing here again? I said, you're not going to believe it. I guess got hurt again. And each day there was something different. And then, of course, the scene with Adam, where the third day I'm tied down on a table with the Riddler. My hands are out like this, completely tied down. Adam is supposed to break in through the subway to rescue me as Batman.
Right.
But the problem was they didn't build a breakaway set.
Those are expensive.
Oh, and there was no time. So the special effects guys, in their infinite wisdom, they put in 2 half sticks of dynamite. And they nearly blew the entire soundstage down. And I'm tied down, and a 2x4 comes down, hits me on the nose, breaks my nose.
Day
Right?
3.
This is the 3rd day. But I'll tell you something. I started to suspect there was a problem.
Did you?
But let me tell you how. It was just before the shot. I'm tied down. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. The special effects guys who handle the pyrotechnics are walking past me, and I smell liquor on their breath. That's a really bad sign.
Meanwhile, your stuntman is having coffee with Adam somewhere the entire week.
No doubt.
With
He
liquor
never
on
got
our
hurt,
breath,
by the way.
yes.
Did you ever, of all the stunts that you did, because any of you guys did your own stuff. Well, I know you did. Did you guys ever, were you ever injured during the filming of the movie or the television series at all? Or?
I love danger. Get the stunt guy, for God's
stunt
sake.
guy.
No, we did most of our own stuff.
Yeah.
There was one thing I wouldn't do, and that was hanging from the ladder from the helicopter over the open ocean.
Okay.
Now, I did that on the soundstage with a little cup of water down there or something. But when Burt handed me that shark repellent, luckily, that was close. I still have that scar here,
That's
Burt.
right. Then you were
Yes,
beating that shark off your leg.
That's right. It's a rubber shark.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what inspired the movie Jaws, by the way. I think Spielberg said once that that was his
Yes.
inspiration for Jaws.
But there were many things that we did. And the strange thing is that every day or two, Ryan O'Neill or somebody on the soundstage doing another show would say, "What's that siren?" And the first assistant was, "Oh, it's just Burt and Adam going to the infirmary again." The worst thing with the show was that smoke, was the colored smoke. Because in those days, it was really acrid. It was severely awful stuff. And we used to be taken in and given oxygen once or twice a day.
A day?
Yes, that's why It's so hard to sit here and not cough.
I am just amazed at you two. So I want to really, there's so many things I want to cover. And I know we have a limited amount of time.
What? They told me 2 hours?
I would love to go long, but I do know that I know these two gentlemen are going to be. You've been here all weekend and you've been signing autographs and posing for photographs, and we so much appreciate the opportunity to reach out and have you be a part of our lives for just a moment. And I know that you've got a signing session right after this that you're going back to, and then photo sessions later tonight and again tomorrow. So if you want to spend just a moment personally with these two gentlemen, they are very generous with their time. Please take the opportunity to do so. Burt, I know that you mentioned that you are a martial artist.
Right.
You and Bruce Lee have a fight, a very famous fight, when the Green Hornet and Kato made an appearance on the Batman.
Right.
That was his first ever on-screen fight.
Well, yeah. Bruce Lee's first cinematic fight scene was fighting me, and we lived. I knew Bruce though before the show, and we lived in the same complex of condominiums. And he and I used to spar together, which is where you pull the punches, but you're still fighting. So when they did this on Batman, it was the same executive producer who was introducing the Green Hornet show, but using Batman to make the introduction, the
Sure.
number one show in the world. And they had said, look, you know, you both are good guys, and we don't want to make it look like anyone is getting better than the other one situation.
Right.
So we're going to just have you kind of start off and fight, and then we'll call it like, you know, a day with that. But we used to really spar together, and he was a great martial artist, and he was from Seattle. I mean, he lived here in
he's
Seattle.
in this town?
He grew up in Hong Kong, but he lived in Seattle.
yeah.
He had a school, a martial arts school in Seattle, and I think he's buried here in Seattle.
He is. He's a treasure for our city, as are you. So, and not buried in Seattle. I'm sorry.
I'm not buried here yet.
I knew there'd be a moment I'd want to
Maybe
unwind.
tonight, I'm not sure.
When I go, you know, your Captain Quick commercial. You know, we can all find that now on the internet. We can find anything nowadays. It's all out there, and I apologize for letting them know, but they knew. My 9-year-old loves the Batman television show, loves it. And I now get jokes I didn't get when I was her age when I watched the show. How did you guys get away with the things that you got away with? This is 1965, 66, 67.
Right.
I mean, the censors then, you couldn't. Ricky and Lucy were in different beds, and they made a baby in different beds. How did you guys get away with what you got away with?
You know, Rob Lowe and I were in bed the other night, and
Yeah. The mayor of Quahog, ladies and
that
gentlemen.
was Family Guy. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would love to
thank-
take a moment. I know. I want to get to Seth MacFarlane. Must look at you like a little kid with a Maserati in his hands. Being able to do what he's able to do with you must be like a kid in a candy store. But
Well,
I don't want to deviate from the Batman and Robin too much. But if we could spend one moment on Family Guy and how that came into be.
well, Seth had written a pilot for me, and it didn't work. I've done like 12 pilots, and I even did a pilot with Shatner. We co-starred in Alexander the Great, the worst thing that was ever done. And he had written this pilot, and it didn't quite work. So when he started, the show, he called me. And I said, of course, because we have the same kind of comic nonsense sensibilities and sense of the absurdity, and it just worked. I said, yeah, I'll play the mayor. You know, the crazy, absurd mayor. I love it, yeah. What you do is take the quirkier parts of your personality and try to expand on that a little bit. And
Has he ever asked you to do anything that you were? Obviously, you've done everything he's asked you to do. Because have you ever been hesitant to do
Yes.
something? Yes. I would hope.
it's very hard to refuse Seth. When I got the star on the sidewalk in Hollywood, Seth was the guy who did the speech for me there. And then I presented him with an award a couple of weeks ago, and then he did the Oscars, and he got all that terrible carping criticism. You know, it was just awful because I think he did a great job.
Well, I think if you
Thank you.
If you hire Seth MacFarlane, you're going to get Seth MacFarlane for the job. I don't know what they were expecting they were going to get.
Absolutely.
He didn't break stride or character to host the Oscars.
Well, he pulled back a little, but not
pulled back
very
a little
much,
bit.
you know.
But back in 1966, 65, the things you guys got away with. Did you ever have them say, no, reshoot that?
Well,
We're not going to let that go.
ask Burt, excuse me, ask him about how this line, the thrust of oncoming manhood.
Oh, yeah. If you could set the scene, though,
How
for
that
that line,
occurred.
one of the greatest lines ever delivered in non-paid television.
Will you want to hear it?
Please do. Oh, I'm sure they would love to hear this.
Well, there was a scene where we brought Batgirl to the Batcave. And, of course, we couldn't let her really know where the Batcave was, so we had to give her this bat gas to knock her out. And then when she got into the Batcave, she saw around, and then we decided now she was going to leave, so we had to give her another whiff of bat gas to knock her out.
Right.
And there's a scene where Adam is sort of sitting where he is in the Batmobile, and I'm sitting on the right side, and Batgirl is in between us.
Passed
And-
out.
Yeah, she's knocked out, and I have a line like, gosh, Batman, Batgirl is really pretty. And Adam just really had a line that was like, gee, Robin, I'm glad that you noticed, or something like that. But he kept missing the line, which is not like Adam. He doesn't make mistakes like that, and especially through 11 takes.
Wow.
At $30,000 an hour. And so now you have a director that is panicking, and everybody is under terrible pressure. They're calling for the executive producer's office. What's going on? What's the delay? You haven't moved to the next set, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, but Adam was really smart about it because he knew how far he could, what I call, stretch the elastic before it was going to break. And he knew that whatever he said on that next shot, next take, that they'd have to use. They had nothing else. They had no way. So when I said, to him, gosh, Batman, Batgirl is beautiful. I mean, by that time I knew it was no accident, let me tell you.
Okay.
You don't work with somebody on 120 episodes and they don't make mistakes until all of a sudden once. No. So I said, gosh, Batman, she's really beautiful. He said, you're right, Robin. I'm so glad to see the oncoming thrust of manhood.
Yeah.
Now, my eyes dropped in my mask, okay, but I didn't show anything. None of the people out there knew, but a week later we got called into the producer's office and the censors were all over us. But
Imagine.
what was happening with our show is because we had 2 episodes a week, they never really could do much about it because they would only catch things afterwards. They would catch it afterwards,
Right.
and therefore it was too late to reshoot it. But there was much worse stuff than that, actually.
Easy.
The Catholic Legion of Decency.
Easy.
When they got after me
Easy.
because
Yeah?
of the way I fit in my tights.
No,
Oh,
Burt.
the tights, yeah.
No, Burt. No,
That's too- all right.
not stuffing the bath towels. No.
Your book, My Life in Tights.
Right.
The costumes, I don't even say costumes, the uniform
Right.
of the dynamic duo.
Right.
Those were some wild stuff. The first time you got to look at that and got into that, were you at all taken aback, hesitant at all, or
Not
afraid?
hesitant. I was in total agony.
Yeah.
I mean, man was not built for tights. I used to call them my python pants because they strangled me to death. But no, for me, it was a difficult costume. I loved everything except the costume. 2 minutes after being in the costume, you have a film of water between your leg and the tights. It was really, really tough. And of course, fitting in tights with these scenes with all these young ladies. I don't want to go there. It was
That's good, Burt. That's good.
increasingly problematic.
Now, your costume, you were made to wear that costume. I can't imagine there was any uncomfortableness or unease about you putting on the cowl.
Well, I tried to make it look like it was easy, and that's the whole secret.
You nailed it.
Yes, I hope so. But the costume was uncomfortable. The guys who play Batman now, they complain about that with the plastic and the rubber. My nipples were real.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
You know, you pull on that cowl, and believe me, that costume works for you. Because the moment I pulled on the cowl, I thought, just like when I was a kid. Come on, let's go out and play Batman and Robin. I'll be Batman, you be Robin, and we'll,
Yeah.
it just works.
It came through. No hero is complete without the perfect villain, and you gentlemen had maybe the best collection of arch villains ever assembled. What a gal! I pale. But the actors that you got to work with, from Burgess Meredith to Frank Gorshin to Cesar Romero, I mean, all Vincent Price, the Mr. Freeze, the Riddler, the Penguin, the Joker, one of maybe the greatest villain of all time, and the Catwoman.
We never knew. Every day when we came to that studio and arrived on that soundstage, we never really knew with whom we might be standing toe-to-toe with, you know, in a scene. And that was the exciting thing. It reminds me of the Battusi. the dance craze of the country.
Battusi.
And how
By the way,
how that happened.
do you guys out there know how Adam created the Battusi? Would you like to hear?
Please.
You know, Adam, I saw when he did that, okay, and I said, that is so strange the way you're doing that. That it's the way you're moving. And I said, Adam, where did you get the idea for the Battusi? He says, well, I was out late last night and I had a little fun and you remember, you want to tell? Well, I'll tell him. Anyway, he said I had met a nubile young maiden and I was doing the horizontal mambo.
Nothing like a private moment you can trust a friend, huh? Right?
I beg your pardon. This is just terrible.
The #1 show in the world. You know, millions and millions of fans. How did it only last 3 seasons?
No, 3 years.
3 years. Well, that's right. You guys filmed 2 episodes a week, right?
It was 120 episodes.
120 episodes.
So the studio pulled the plug when they had enough on film to go into reruns forever. And that was it. And Burt and I were a little tired of doing it, frankly. And
We still loved it, but it was they were losing money.
Yeah,
because all those effects. I mean, we had a crew that was twice the size of a normal film crew, and they were losing a lot of money. And it was a financial consideration.
At that time, it was the most expensive show ever done.
What was it per episode? I'm sorry? Where are the DVDs?
Oh, that's a great question. I get asked that every day. Now, I suggest that because they're not out and these people can't make up their minds about how to share the pie, that you buy my DVD, Adam West Naked. AdamWest.com, a little plug there, okay?
Nice, nicely done.
AdamWest.com. Anyway, they didn't do this, so I decided to do my own. It'll be out soon. It will. I have heard from this studio that it will. And I finally made an agreement with Warner's and with Mattel and a bunch of other people. You see, it comes full circle, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Nowadays, people who create characters like Gentlemen created, they get what they call back end. And I slept in a Batman sleeping bag. I carried a Batman lunchbox. We mentioned the costume. Did you guys ever get anything, any kind of reward from the...
Well, I still have my bat jammies.
You still got those?
And the last night, the housekeeper wondered, oh, no, I won't. Why was Wait. Burt,
Mr. West,
is that Riddler?
how was it like working with Frank Gorshin?
It's the voice of Riddler. Frank. He's come back, Burt. Working with Frank Gorshin was the greatest pleasure because Frank was funny and he was such a fine actor, underrated in Hollywood. But he was so good because he always played with manic intensity. And I love that, being on edge. like we are now, Bert, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Mr. West, who was your favorite Catwoman?
What?
Who was your favorite Catwoman, Mr. West?
Well, I had 3 of them.
Yeah, you did have 3. That's right, you had 3 Catwomen.
That's 27 lives. It ain't easy, folks.
Would it be okay if we opened up the audience for some questions? Would you gentlemen be all right with that? I know some of the fans would love to ask a question or two.
Absolutely.
If anybody would like, there are a couple of microphones set up here in the aisle. And take your, guys,
Well,
manners,
this could
please.
take a week.
Well, I know we have a limited amount of time available to us. We are the gentlemen are gonna go to a signing
great.
session. You there,
Hello. My best friend is in New Jersey taking care of her grandmother right now, and she really, 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 really wishes that she could be here. And she wanted to say hello, and she was wondering what your favorite memory from filming Batman was.
favorite memory from filming Batman?
Oh, I have so many, it would be difficult. I think that check every week.
Taking the Batmobile down to the bank and
Yeah, we just have had so many wonderful times, believe me. And I guess you folks know that too, or you wouldn't still enjoy it.
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank
Hi.
you.
A big Batman fan. I have a question. As far as Batman evolving over, time from you guys' awesome slapstick, funny things, to the dark thing that it's become nowadays, how do you guys feel about how it's evolved?
Well, it's apples and oranges, right, Bert? And, they have the Dark Knight. I prefer to think of myself as the bright knight. I'm not a
Apples and oranges.
critic. I'm not
Apples
a
and
critic.
oranges. Yeah, completely
Yeah,
different.
I'm not a critic. They do a wonderful job with what they do. And we didn't have that much to work with, computer enhancement and so on. We just did it.
And
Thank
young
you.
young gentleman here. Thank you. Gentlemen, you, sir.
I was wondering what it was like, or how you came about working on Fairly Odd Parents.
Your work on the Fairly Odd Parents. Your work on the Fairly Odd Parents. You'd like to know about how that came about?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have, and I was supposed to start one this coming week, and then I didn't like the script very much, so I may not do it. I'm sorry to say, but I think they're going to come around.
And I know we have a lot of folks, so thank you. Yes.
How did you react with the laughing gas scene?
Laughing gas? Did
Yes.
you see that?
Yes.
Isn't that a hoot? We love that stuff.
And the sad pills.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi. So I'm recording this for my dad, who couldn't be here today.
Hi, Dad.
So if you could just say hi to my dad, Steve. He loves you guys. He wanted to come just to see you, but he couldn't make it. So if you could say hi, Steve, it would just make it
Hi,
weird.
Steve.
Hey, howdy, Big Daddy.
And I grew up on the show. Like, we have the DVDs and some of the VHS that he recorded himself. And so I'm starstruck, and I just want to say how much I love you guys. I want to hug you, but
You
that's
have
very
excellent
inappropriate.
taste.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, no offense, Adam, but Bert, you were my first celebrity crush when I was like 6 years old. So my question is,
It's all good. It's all good.
of all the guest stars that you had, you may not be able to answer this, but was anyone a real pain in the neck?
Derriere.
Yeah.
No, most of them, I got to be honest, were very nice, very professional. Some of the situations we got in terms of, like I said, where you had special effects or special gags were difficult. But, I didn't have a problem. I got along, I think, with just about everybody.
They were getting a chance to work on the #1 show in the world.
Yeah,
I'm sure
they were really thrilled to work. I know Adam had a little problems with Liberace, the character he played, Fingers.
Well, let me tell you. Liberace spent 1 week with us trying to act tough. It was hopeless.
Hi, Bert. Where's my candelabra?
You know, it was very difficult. But you see, that was the fun of the show. You cast someone like Liberace to play Fingers, you know, a villain, and his twin brother, a good guy. And when Liberace tries to be tough, it's really funny.
I agree.
So that's very enjoyable. Or when Otto Preminger, the great director, was there doing Mr. Freeze. And Otto was known to not look kindly on actors. Now, Burt and I had a scene in which we were to run in on camera and pick up Mr. Freeze off the floor, Otto Preminger. Well, he weighed about 280. And I was supposed to pick him up. So every time I ran in, Otto would grab the floor and stay down. He was no help at all. On the 8th take, I managed to run in and kick him in the ribs. He was very cooperative.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, my son is a huge fan of you guys, and he's 5, and he wouldn't let us call him by his name for like months. I had to call him Batman, and I was called Robin, not Mommy.
Nice.
But this question's actually about Family Guy and Rob Lowe. Is Rob Lowe that nice in person?
Is Rob Lowe that nice in person? About family?
You know, he's a lovely guy. He's just really nice. You're right. And he's very rich. And he works all the time. And Rob Lowe had a tough time on the way up, believe me, because he was so damn good looking that people didn't really take him seriously. Burt has that problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
At this point, generations of children have been fortunate enough to grow up and watch you all as Batman and Robin. And I wondered what you hope the children and families who are still enjoying your show take away from it.
What a profound question. I think about that quite often. And as a matter of fact, about 2 hours ago, I was on the telephone with a director friend of mine who happens to be in the family. And I said, he's doing a new documentary based on me. I can't believe this. And I'm so humble. But he asked me the same question. And it's so hard to answer, except there's one thing that comes very clear. It's when we sit here, and I'm not stroking you folks, but we meet people like you who come to see us, and you're so gracious and warm and humorful. It just is so cool for us, believe me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's an honor for us. Yes, sir.
Um,
The gentleman with the very average hair. Yes.
First of all, I would like to say it's an honor to be able to address two of the greatest sex icons ever in the history of man. But my question would be, what was the inspiration for the movie Return to the Batcave, and how did that come about?
Oh, well, that's actually pretty easy. The inspiration for that were the books that Adam and I each wrote about our take on our experiences on Batman. He wrote a great book, and I thought my book was good too. And what they did is they basically took a combination of the two, kind of cleaned mine up a little bit, and they made something that could be presentable to audiences.
Thanks. Yes.
Hi, my question is not very profound, but on the Batman set, there's quite a few things that are labeled throughout the movie. What was your take on that?
Well, I thought it was kind of amusing, you know, the two guys who are supposed to be superb crime fighters can't even find their underwear, you know, that everything has to be labeled. And, you know, we had the first car telephone and on, but we had to label everything. And that reminds me, Burt had a little sidecar, you know, Batcycle deal.
Yeah.
And I've got to compliment him tonight. I never have before. But Burt
This
was
can't
always
be good.
Burt was always white-knuckled when I drove the Batmobile, and for good reason. because I pulled a lot of stuff maybe I shouldn't have done. But we had, on my motorcycle, Batcycle, there was a sidecar. We were on the pier in Santa Barbara shooting a scene. Now, Burt was supposed to peel off in the sidecar when I pressed a button and go get him wherever. What happened was, oh, Burt was so good about this because I pushed the button. The sidecar broke loose all right, but went right off the pier into the water. So here's this guy swimming like Tarzan.
In a cape and cowl.
Yes, which is a little soggy. It's like clam day in Quahog.
It's always clam day in Quahog. Yes.
Hi, this is a two-part question for both of you. First question is, what are the most unusual type of experiences you have with your fans? And the second question is the most unusual types of fan letters that you receive.
The most unusual experiences with the fans, I think, was your first, right?
Okay.
And then the most unusual fan letters you've received,
Yes.
either of you?
Both, or both.
Anything the courts allow you to talk about at all? or-
We can't talk about it.
No, we can't.
Read our
Neither?
books.
Look, I get
Buy the book. It's in the book. That's great.
I get so many letters, believe me, and I'm not bragging. I get so much fan mail, and it's truly rewarding because they write me. I don't care whether it's a judge, a janitor, a sheriff, a kid who's out there trying to get into college. They all write, and they say great things, and that we've influenced them in their lives in good ways. So here are these two clowns who, you know, we've done some good, I guess, out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm a dinosaur. Would you like half my Subway sandwich?
No,
No,
thank
thanks.
you.
Okay.
We're good.
I had a second question. Is that okay?
Good. Thank God.
All right. So, no doubt the Batman movie franchise will be rebooted within 5 or 10 years. There'll be a new origin story and all that. What kind of Batman movie would you like to see? Should it be, comedy and campy? Would it be dark, action?
In 10 years.
Yeah. What kind of Batman movie would you like to see made?
Well, I have, in my wildest nightmares, envisioned that. I would like to see myself, for example. I can only speak for myself at this moment, but I would like to see an older Bruce Wayne somehow come to life through the library window one midnight. From who knows where, from what universe, what plane, to help the young Bruce Wayne who's given up because of the terrible things that are happening. Am I getting somewhere?
Yeah, that's great. Great.
Anyway, it's just that kind of nonsense. You know, you think about what I'd do with this thing if I could do it.
Thank you. You sure you don't want the sandwich?
No, we're good. Thank you. What kind is it? No, I don't care. No.
Send me a gross. A gross.
Yes.
Hi, I'm a huge Batman fan, but more than that is my cousin Grant. Can you please say hi to him?
Oh my God.
And I have another question to
Say hi to
Hi, Grant.
Thank you. But my question is, what were your guys' favorite exclamations on the show?
Your favorite exclamations? You mean like the pow, zam, those kind of things?
Well,
or
I think
sayings, or-
Burt is the expert with
Yeah.
the holy guacamoles and stuff.
Right. What's your favorite?
I really didn't have a favorite because I did 378 of them, and
Have they ever been published anywhere?
Actually,
oh
there's
yes,
a-
they're on the internet.
Are
You
they?
can watch. There's somebody that has pieced together of each year all the holies I said in
Beautiful.
each year, so you can watch them all. Yeah.
It's like 15 minutes long. Thank you.
Oh, you've
so
seen it, so it gets 15 minutes long. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm told we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
Because I know, so I apologize. You folks are in line with other questions. We're going to have to move it along. I know that you gentlemen have made so many commitments here this weekend for various signings and photograph opportunities, and we so appreciate you being available to us and for you to take the time out. I know you're both nonstop busy. You guys are. I see your schedules, and it's awe-inspiring that you're so active. And I don't want to say that in a insure kind of way. I mean that you care so much about these fans.
We don't drink insure.
Yeah. I know. That's what I knew I'd screwed up. I just wanted to say thank you as a fan of the Batman and Robin, from the bottom of my heart.
You are so
All of
You're
us.
welcome. Thank you all. Let's
Very
go.
welcome.
It is truly an honor.
And thank you for
To the
being
Batmobile.
gracious.
My pleasure.
So what the hell is this? You're in another castle, it would seem. I'm getting sick of this. The truth, are you avoiding me? So please attach a sign.